Hi everyone, it's Cheryl here from Love and Light Yoga, and today I have a quick beginner yoga sequence for you. So chances are if you are on this video you have maybe never done yoga before or you are new to yoga, and it's all good. This sequence that we are about to do is completely suitable for beginners and it is designed to get us moving and make us feel good. So whether you have practiced before or not, please join me on your mat and let's begin. So we are going to get started today in a comfortable seated position. I'm going to take cross-legged. You can take whatever works for you. And if coming into cross-legged is already a little bit uncomfortable, maybe there's a little bit of strain on the hips, you can sit on top of something. So you can take a blanket, you can take a pillow if you've got a yoga block, just something that you can sit on that's going to give your hips a little bit more height and take a little bit of the strain off the hips. So by sitting up on something, we may be able to find ourselves sitting a little bit taller through the spine. And what we want to do is just relax the shoulders here. So sit with a nice tall spine, crown of the head reaching up towards the sky. The shoulders are down and relaxed, and just close the eyes here. We're just going to take a very quick moment to find our breath. So maybe we are a little bit flustered or we're a little bit anxious about this practice, especially if we are completely new. So just take a moment to find your breath. Make the breath smooth and deep. Keep the spine long, the shoulders relaxed, the face relaxed. Take a deep breath in and out in your own time. And then after your exhale, open up through the eyes. And we're going to try to maintain the length that we have created in through our spine throughout the entire practice. So keep the sit bones grounded, keep the crown of the head reaching high, and then as we inhale, we're going to reach the arms out towards the side, take them nice and high so that we're getting that stretch through the waist, and then exhale, our hands come down through heart center. And again, we take a big inhale, we sweep the hands out to the side, we take them super high, palms together, exhale, hands come down. One last time, keep the hips grounded, inhale, reach the hands up, keep the spine long, maybe look up in between the palms, and then exhale, our hands come down through center. Nice, and from here, just bring the hands onto the knees, and we're just going to find a little bit of movement through our upper body. So we're just going to think about taking the rib cage and the torso and the chest into some big circles here. So we're not doing anything too technical, we're just bringing a little bit of movement through our spine, through our shoulders, through our hips. Feel free to let the hips rock side to side here. It doesn't have to look in any particular way. We're just finding a nice organic movement that feels good. So yoga isn't always about finding shapes and holding the shapes. It's about just finding a movement that is nice for us. So take a few big rolls one way and then switch directions. Just take it the other way. Maybe making the movement a little bit bigger. And then eventually finding our way all the way back to center. Nice, land back in center and find that length once again through the spine. So hips and sit bones are grounded, crown of the head reaching tall, spine is long. And we're going to release the legs out here. So we're going to bring the legs out into a little bit of a wide leg position. If you're on your blanket or your pillow, you can stay there or you can come off, it doesn't really matter. And it also doesn't really matter how wide the legs are. So we can have the legs super duper wide if we want to, but as long as they're a little bit wider than our hips is great. Also, we can choose to have the knees completely straight or we can have a bend in the knees. So if having a bend in through the knees lets us stay a little bit taller through the spine, we can stay here. Or if we're good to straighten the legs out, we can straighten them out. we're going to find our little stirring the pot exercise. So we're going to bring our hands together in front of our chest. We're going to start to turn the upper body to face the left toes, and then reach the hands down towards the toes. And the hands don't have to come anywhere near the toes, but we're just reaching down in that general direction. Still trying to keep our hips grounded. So we don't want this right hip to lift. We want the hips grounded, sit bones grounded, reaching towards the left toes. Nice, we should be feeling a big opening in through the back of the left hamstrings, in through the lower back. And then can we take our hands towards the right toes, sweeping the hands across. We'll start to feel that stretch shift into the back of the right hamstrings, the low back. We keep breathing. And then can we bring the hands back up? And chest comes through center. We're going to take that into some big fluid movements. So almost like there was a big pot in between our legs, and we are stirring the pot here. We're keeping our sit bones grounded. And we're just finding, once again, that nice organic movement. So we just want this to feel nice. We want it to feel nice in the back. We want it to feel nice in the legs. We just want to be wakening the body up here. Doesn't matter if your movement looks exactly like my movement or not. Chances are we are stretching, we are working all the same muscles. And then just switch direction in your own time and take a few big circles the other way. Nice, let's find our way, coming all the way back through center, sit up tall, chest comes forwards, and then we can bend the knees up, bring soles of the feet to the floor, keep a little bit of space in between the knees, bring the hands back, and then just let the knees almost windshield wiper side to side here. So just letting one hip lift and then the other, just releasing any tension out of the low back, out of the thighs. And then eventually coming back once again to center. Nice. So from here, we're all going to meet in our tabletop. So you can move your blanket or your pillow or block or whatever you had aside, and we're going to meet in our tabletop, which is our hands and our knees. A super common yoga pose, somewhere that is almost like a reset for whatever position we're going to go into next. We will more than likely pass through our tabletop. So we are on our hands and our knees, and if we have achy knees, we can put our little pillow or blanket in underneath the knees if we need to, just for a little bit of extra support. And if the wrists also start to get a little bit achy, we can do the same thing underneath the palms of the hands, which is just going to take a little bit of weight off the wrists, or we can come up onto our knuckles if that feels better. But what we want to have here is we want to have the wrists directly underneath the shoulders. We want to have the knees directly underneath our hips. We want to have the fingertips spread nice and wide on the mat. And we're going to find some cat-cows here. So we're going to link up this movement with our breath. As we inhale, we're going to start to look forward. We're going to open up the chest. So it's almost like we're shining our chest forward. We're going to let our bellies drop. We're going to point the tailbone up, and we're going to look forwards. As we exhale, we're going to start to tuck the chin in towards the chest. We're going to press actively through our hands, through our arms. Start to arch the upper back. Start to point the tailbone down and suck your belly button back up towards your spine. Again, as we inhale, we start to roll the spine forward. We look forward. We roll those shoulders back. Tailbone points up. We're going to feel a little dip in the low back. As we exhale, chin to chest, press actively through the hands, through the arms, arch the upper back, look behind. Again, inhale, we roll it forwards, and then exhale, we're sending it under. And then just take a few rolls like this in time with your own breath. You're going to be on a completely different breathing pattern from me. So just move with your own breath here, making this movement as big as you need it to be, and really trying to feel this through all parts of the spine. Just rolling the spine forwards and back. We'll take one more full round of breath in your own time, a full inhale, followed by your exhale. And then we'll all meet back in our tabletop. And when we come back into our tabletop, we should feel the spine return back to that nice neutral spine. So we are neither curved nor arched through the spine. We're in a nice neutral here. Nice. Let's stay active through our arms. We're going to try to keep the hips as steady as we can, and we're just going to see if we can maybe start to take the right leg out and away. Now we can either keep the toes on the floor, or we might choose to lift them up and point the toes away. We're just going to see if we can hold and lengthen that leg. Hold it for 3 and 2 and 1, and then bring the knee all the way back to the floor. Let's go on the other side. Send the left leg out and away. We can keep the toes on the floor, or we can start to lift, keep the core engaged, keep the hips steady, point the toe away, and just hold for 3 and 2 and 1, and bring the knee back to the floor. Nice. Let's take some weight off the wrists here, and we will come into our child's pose. So for our child's pose, we can bring the toes together, we can send the knees apart, and we can send the knees quite wide apart, or we can keep them underneath the hips. It doesn't really matter, but we're just going to start to send the bum back towards our heels. Now if our bum doesn't meet our heels, again we can use a pillow or a blanket or whatever we have in between the bum and the heels, just to give it a little bit of extra support. But we're sending the hips back as far as they can go, and then we're going to start to rest the chest down, rest the forehead down. We're going to keep the arms outstretched, and then let the forehead fall wherever it comes. So the forehead might come to the floor. We might send the forehead on top of our stacked hands. If that is still a little bit too challenging, we can make little fists with the hands, pop one on top of the other, and bring the forehead onto our fists. Wherever you are, take a few deep breaths here. Your child's pose should almost be like your little reset button. So as we move through our practices, and when we come back into our child's pose, that is your cue to reset, to breathe into wherever you're feeling the stretch or wherever you're feeling the work, to catch the breath, to slow the heart rate down. So wherever you are, just take a few more nice deep breaths. See if you can relax into this just a little bit more. Relax your upper arms. Melt your chest towards the floor. Release through your hips. Slow everything right down. And then after your next exhale, we can prepare to release out of this child's pose. So we're going to start to lift the forehead, lift the gaze. We're going to bring the hands back, and then we're going to press our hips up, and we're going to return back into our tabletop. Nice. So we have one last little posture to work through before we come down for our last child's pose of the practice, and we're going to be coming up into our downward facing dog, which again is another super popular pose. If we are going to be thinking about doing more yoga, maybe doing more classes, doing more flows, things like that, chances are you're going to encounter a downward facing dog. So we'll go through this nice and slowly and at your own pace, and we're going to start from our tabletop. So again, we're taking those little checks to make sure that we have the wrists underneath the shoulders, we have the knees underneath the hips, and we want to have the fingertips spread wide here. We want to be nice and active through the arms and pressing into the mat. So when we do that, we automatically start to feel our shoulders and our upper back switching on. We want to also stay quite engaged through the core. And then we're going to see if we can tuck our toes underneath. So we're going to tuck our toes under, we're going to keep engaged in the arms, and we're going to start to send the hips back. So almost like we were going back into our child's pose again, only we are not, because we are going to start to press into the hands. We're going to start to lift the hips high, and we're going to send them back. And we can keep the knees bent here. If it feels better for you to have the knees completely straight, that's okay. We can straighten out the knees, but for the purposes of this, we're going to keep the knees bent, we're going to keep the arms straight, and we're going to keep breathing. Your gaze should be back towards your toes. There should be no tension at all through your neck. We're going to try to keep those hips high, keep sending them back towards the back of the mat. If we need to come out of this at any time, that's okay. We just bring the knees back down to the floor and then rejoin whenever we are feeling ready. Keep breathing. Can we find a little bit of movement? Take the dog for a walk. Maybe just bend and straighten each knee at a time. Just feeling that stretch in through the right hamstrings and then through the left. Keep the breath here, super important. Nice full inhales and exhales. Let's come back into stillness, into our downward facing dog. You choose whether you want to keep the knees bent or maybe we send them a little bit into a straighter position. We're just here for one more big inhale, a full exhale. And then nice and slowly come back onto the tippy toes. Start to bend the knees, bring them back down towards your mat. Release your toes. And we're going to find our child's pose once again. So toes might come together, knees might come apart. We're sitting our bum all the way back towards the heels. We're maybe stretching our arms long, or we're taking those hands one on top of the other. And we're resting the forehead all the way down. All the way down to the mat or onto the hands. And when we arrive in our child's pose, just let go. Just let go of anything that we've been holding on to. Let go of any sensations in the wrist or the ankles or the hips. Let go of our muscles, let go of our bones. Just breathe here, sink down into your mat. Keep scanning through your body for anywhere else that you can let go. Every exhale, release just a little bit more. We're here for our last few breaths. So feel the breath slowing down and the heart rate slowing down. And then after your next exhale, we might release, we might start to lift the gaze, and we're going to walk the hands this time all the way back towards our knees, back into this more upright position on our mats. And we will just finish the exact same way that we started. So we will take the hands by our sides. As we inhale, we'll sweep the hands up towards the sky, bring the palms together, and exhale your hands together at your heart center. You can close off your eyes here. You can send yourself a little bit of thanks, a little bit of gratitude for taking this time out of your day to maybe give yoga a go for possibly the first time. So be proud of yourself, be thankful. When you're ready, you can open back up through your eyes. And namaste. Thank you all so much for practicing with me. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you would like to join me for some more yoga videos, please subscribe. If you like this video, please give it a like. And whatever you are doing, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Once again, namaste.